Prophecy, prophecy, prophecy. When God's servants speak forth, the wise listen. Deuteronomy 18:22. God is still saying something.
During a Sunday service at the Synagogue Church of All Nations, Prophet T.B. Joshua prophesied about a disagreement between two superpower nations, saying that one would cause the disagreement and the other would retaliate.
Why all this happened? Because we are in a generation without faith, without hope. Anytime there's a message, it's either one is positive, the rest negative, because we are in a generation without faith and without hope. There's some situations that can be reversed, but we cannot do it alone here. But when the whole world hear it, instead of them also to take cognizance about the matter and join us in prayer, because it is two-sided affair. It is not one. Sometimes the Lord can give us the grace to change it, but there's some situations God says they must also involve in the prayer. But when the world at large is faithless and without hope, they say what this man is saying, he has started again. There will be disagreement between two countries, superpower country. The disagreement will come. One will cause that disagreement, another one will retaliate. That will be, after some time, the war will come. Because this time, there is no war again. The settlement will come. It is decree. What is the cause of this? Power.
During another Sunday service at the Synagogue Church of All Nations, Prophet T.B. Joshua spoke further about these two countries, mentioning the name Korea.
Pray for the nation, this nation called Korea. The Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself. You must pray for them.
During another Sunday service, Prophet T.B. Joshua spoke further and mentioned the day that the disagreement would take place in Korea.
Remember the message I gave last Sunday concerning a country that will have a clash over issue. This one is superpower. This one is, well, we can call the two countries superpower, but I'm seeing clash. And it will threaten the security of each country. On Tuesday, remember to pray for the whole world. Jesus loves you. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Juanita Rajpal in London. We welcome our viewers in the United States and around the world. We'd like to update you now on a breaking news story that we're following out of the Korean Peninsula. South Korean President Lee Myung-bak says his government is trying to stop an artillery exchange from escalating into all-out war. South Korean ministers are holding emergency talks after North Korea fired artillery shells across the border and onto a populated South Korean island. 2 South Korean soldiers have been killed. That's according to the Defense Ministry. Reports say at least 13 soldiers and 2 civilians were injured. The North fired at least 200 rounds at Yongpyong Island. South Korea responded with 80 rounds and deployed fighter jets. Some people are fleeing the island to the mainland. Others are taking shelter in schools. A little earlier, the White House released a statement in which it said the United States strongly condemns this attack and calls on North Korea to halt its belligerent action and to fully abide by the terms of the armistice agreement. It added the United States is firmly committed to the defense of our ally, the Republic of Korea, and to the maintenance of regional peace and stability.
Well, North Korea is isolated from most of the world, but it often listens to Beijing. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Hung Lei issued a carefully measured response to Tuesday's fighting.
We have taken note of relevant reports and we express concern for this situation. This situation will be verified. We hope that the relevant parties will contribute their share to peace and stability on the Korean Peninsula.
Other nations were not as guarded. Japan calls Pyongyang's attack unpardonable. It says the provocation compromises the peace and security of not only South Korea, but also the entire region. Russia also condemns the artillery shelling, saying, quote, "We are insistently urging immediate measures to alleviate tensions and the avoidance of such conduct in the future." And we've just got the first on-camera response to the incident from U.S. President Barack Obama. He was interviewed on ABC News. Let's listen.
Is an attack on South Korea an attack on the U.S.?
South Korea is our ally. It has been since the Korean War, and we strongly affirm our commitment to defend South Korea as part of that alliance.
Will we perhaps send warships, or would you put U.S. troops on alert?
Well, I'm not going to speculate on military actions at this point. I want to consult with President Lee.
South Korea has ordered its military on highest alert after what it calls intolerable attacks on civilian areas. The two sides exchanged fire for almost an hour after the North shelled a South Korean island, killing 2 Marines. Look at the map. The attack happened near the northern limit line. That's a maritime border that North Korea does not recognize. As Stan Grant reports, some island residents fled to the mainland to escape.
I'm walking along here now with one of the people who've been evacuated from the island. As you can see, it is an elderly lady. Many of the people who have fled the island are older people, and they've been describing what they went through. Most of them saying that they are shocked and they are saddened. Some have had to leave all of their possessions behind. I'm not dead, she says. I'm not hurt, and I've come back alive. This is what confronted Ko Young-hee, the 86-year-old, seeing her home on Yeonpyeong Island under attack. Closed-circuit television captured shells raining down. I was on my own, all alone. A kind neighbour came and helped me get to the port. I didn't even get to say bye to him. Buildings were on fire, smoke billowing into the air. North Korea launching the attack, it says retaliating to South Korean military exercises. South Korea responding. F-16 fighter jets scrambling to the area, returning fire. In Seoul, President Lee Myung-bak calling key officials to an emergency meeting, calling for calm, but leaving Pyongyang in no doubt the South will hit back. The Army, Navy and Air Force, he says, should unite and retaliate against this provocation with multiple firepower. I think enormous retaliation is necessary to make North Korea incapable of provoking us again. Into the night, boats ferry more people to Incheon port, dazed and in shock, still trying to take stock of what happened. I heard a boom sound and then a large bang. All the windows shattered and we ran to the bunkers. That's when I saw the smoke and fire. Targeting civilians raises the deadly stakes here. There have been flashpoints before, but this was an attack on South Korean soil. North Korea is ratcheting up the rhetoric, calling the South Korean government a puppet group, saying that South Korea is carrying out war exercises and warning that North Korea will respond with merciless military confrontation. A region already volatile is now on a knife edge. Stan Grant, CNN, Incheon, South Korea.
With a U.S. warship headed to the region, tensions are dangerously high in the Korean peninsula. Seoul is beefing up its security in the Yellow Sea, and Pyongyang is threatening more military action. It all comes 2 days after North Korea shelled Yeonpyeong Island, killing 4 South Koreans. The maritime border between the two Koreas is known as the Northern Limit Line, and it's become a major military flashpoint. Seoul is now strengthening its rules of engagement to allow it to respond more forcefully to provocation. Here are some examples of what it's doing. Under the old rules, if North Korea fired shots and no one was wounded, the South would broadcast a warning 3 times. If more shots were fired, South Korea would shoot back. If not, the situation was concluded. Under the new rules, though, if the North fired shots and no one was wounded, the South would broadcast a warning, and the South would also fire shots 2 to 3 times more powerful than the enemy artillery. China is believed to have the most influence on North Korea, and Washington would like Beijing to put pressure on Pyongyang. But it's not clear if that will happen. CNN's Christy Liu Stout is tracking the situation from Hong Kong.
So what can the U.S. and North Korea's neighbors actually do? Now, South Korea says it will strengthen its rules of engagement in the Yellow Sea. Seoul will send more troops to the 5 islands near North Korea. Some South Koreans have called on their government to take a harder stance against the North. Now, previous administrations have pursued a so-called sunshine policy of reconciliation. Now, Japan has strong sanctions in place against Pyongyang. Tokyo bans all imports from North Korea and does not allow its ships into Japanese ports. Right now, the USS George Washington is making its way from its base in Japan to the Yellow Sea. The U.S. warship will take part in previously planned military exercises with South Korea. In addition to that show of force, officials in Washington tell CNN that President Barack Obama will call his Chinese counterpart in the coming days. Now, Beijing holds strong influence over Pyongyang and may pressure North Korea to return to 6-party talks. And so far, Premier Wen Jiabao is the highest-ranking Chinese official to comment on the Koreas. According to the China Daily, he said, quote, "Under the current serious and complex circumstances, all concerned parties should exert maximum restraint, and the international community should make more efforts conducive to easing up the tensions." While China remains North Korea's strongest ally, whether they will act remains to be seen. Christy Lustout, CNN, Hong Kong.
Why all this happened? Because we are in a generation without faith, without hope. Anytime there's a message, is either one is positive, the rest negative, because we are in a generation without faith and without hope. There's some situations that can be reversed, but we cannot do it alone here. But when the whole world hear it, instead of them also to take cognizance about the matter and join us in prayer, because it is two-sided affair. It is not one. Sometimes the Lord can give us the grace to change it, but there's some situations God says they must also involve in the prayer. But when the war at large is faithless and without hope, they say, what this man is saying, he has started again. There will be disagreement between two countries, superpower countries. The disagreement will come. One will cause that disagreement, another one will retaliate. That will be, after some time, the war will come. Because this time, there is no war again. The settlement will come. It is decree. What is the cause of this? Power.
During another Sunday service at the Synagogue Church of All Nations, Prophet TB Joshua spoke further about these two countries, mentioning the name Korea.
Pray for the nation, this nation called Korea. The Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself. You must pray for them.
During another Sunday service, Prophet TB Joshua spoke further and mentioned the day that the disagreement would take place in Korea.
Remember the message I gave last Sunday concerning a country that will have a clash over issue. This one is superpower. This one is, well, we can call the two countries superpower, but I'm seeing clash. And it will threaten the security of each country. On Tuesday, remember to pray for the whole world. Jesus loves you. Thank you.